Rise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us to discuss the poor implementation of last year's budget, allegedly, and the need for detailed implementation of every budget to stimulate Nigeria's growth. It's good to have you with us, Masood. Very good. So, do you concur with the National Assembly's assessment of the 2024 budget implementation so far, and what is their main bone of contention with it here? We keep hearing the word, the lack of release of funds, as it were.
That's the excuse of the other side. But their own observations are legitimate observations on our mode of operation, our political system, presidential system of checks and balances and separation of powers. It is their duty to check government expenditure. And they are doing it in a very fine way. But you see, it seems as if they caught this economic team pants down, because they are commenting on the report brought by the economic team. And you can see so many inadequacies they have pointed out. You see, you cannot come to an exam before your examiner and you brought something that is bound to result in failure, which is what they have done. And I don't like the excuses they gave. You see, if you have a budget and you know you have to disburse funds, you should disburse funds strenuously and as at when you get me? And see the statistics they quoted for them, recurrent expenditure to capital expenditure. The recurrent is ballooning the capital, which is for public good, is not on. And it is this, how do I put it, public-spirited legislators who are calling the finance team to order. And look at the excuses they give. I don't like those excuses, and I will show you why. The finance minister said they can't spend the money they don't have because they don't want backlash from France or Germany. It is not on. The examples are totally irrelevant. You see, in France, they had a parliamentary election. You get me? And the president, that's their own constitution, appointed a prime minister that did not reflect that majority. So that prime minister wanted to smuggle in a budget, and they called him to order, and through a vote of confidence, they threw him out. Yeah. Our legislature is not a hostile one to the presidency. So why is he mentioning that? The same thing in Germany. There was a coalition, the SDP and these green people, and then they knew. You see, the Minister of Economic Planning was working to campaign, win industries, to campaign for the next election. So the Chancellor sacked him. And the Chancellor called a vote of no confidence, and they lost. So they're having an election in February. So there are two different issues. And then with the Minister of Budget Planning, he spoke of exigencies, that they are about to remove some funds for insecurity, so that the farmers could know. If you are doing budgeting, you are planning, you should have taken all those into consideration. Yes, and if you know you are going to make a report to a legislative arm of government, which is to check your, I think you must have updated whatever you have to produce. So there's a lot of laxity there. And even the director of budget was telling these patriotic legislators, you get to know, that they may need to make a law to limit recurrent expenditure.
Yes, that's actually...
That is not on.
That is not on.
You see, they did not take that visit seriously, or else they would have put their house, you know. That's why they said they were caught pants down and giving excuses that are not tenable.
Yeah. So I was actually going to ask what your thoughts are on the proposed legislative interventions, because the National Assembly in itself considering legislation to cap the recurrent expenditure. A lot of people are wondering, is it a realistic approach to solve the imbalance, or does the solution lie elsewhere as such a comprehensive public sector reforms?
Once a budget has been approved, disburses for the purposes for which it is meant before the expiration. You see, in the ministry, this is a clear case of government inefficiency. Again, I keep on mentioning Donald Trump. He is not trying to correct it from inside. It's some billionaires who have clout are doing it as a sort of consultancy for him. But in this particular instance, the legislature is doing a fine duty of calling the economy team to order. That you see, we have money. You are saying you don't have more money to disburse. So why did you plan the budget? And all these examples. So I advise, because they are lucky. For example, the minister talking of backlash. Is he trying to instigate the legislation against the president? Because that was what happened in the countries he mentioned. You get me? But here we have a cohesive relationship, cooperative relationship between the legislation and government. I doubt if they will ever pass a vote of no confidence in the present government, because they are in charge. So if it is an in-house thing now, in-house criticism in good faith should be taken as such, and the government side should step up its fund disbursement and monitoring of budget implementation, so that next time it comes around, it is not got passed down like this.
All right, and in plugging the loopholes and, of course, the leaks every now and then, have we done enough to reduce corrupt tendencies regarding budget implementations or expenditures over time, you think?
I am not in a position to say that. I'm not in a position to say that. But you see, I will hope, I don't think there's anybody measuring that. What the government has put in place is performance monitoring. You get me? And this is a clear indication. There's a minister, I think, in charge of that. This is a clear indication that Ministry of Finance, Minister of Budget, need to put their houses in order. It's as simple as that. That's why I say...
I'm sorry, if there's a buck passing that, hey, look, we don't have enough funds to do this, and then records show that probably you actually do have it. So
then what then? Yeah.
What then is that?
You are holding brief for them.
No.
Holding brief for them. Let them make that explanation when they come. But they have not said that. They are pointing at foreign example that is not relevant, and they are even asking the legislator to curtail their own expenditure with legislation. It's not on. They did not do their own work well. They should put their house in order. Take the admonition of these legislators in good faith.
All right, I would have loved to ask you about, the public perception of, the priorities, because people are saying that, capital projects are being described as, 80% to prioritize the recurrent expenditure at 80% compared to 20% for capital.
No, what is the legislator is telling them? So you should prioritize capital projects.
Yes.
The essence is these are infrastructure deficit. Those are public goods.
Exactly.
Those are goods everybody uses. Not the recurrent, which is a handful of people or exigencies.
Yeah.
I said, like, you're talking of security, you pay some security people, but the budget is there.
The
even if you have to move
impact,
funds, let the capital thing that benefits
that impacts the
public
majority.
good.
Yeah.
Let those ones go on.
Yeah,
that is what they are telling them.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Mr. Sobowale. And, I hope they're watching and they're taking notes. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio today. We're still watching Newsday.